Hi everyone, welcome to another Procreate tutorial. This is the drawing that we'll be completing in today's video. This cute sardines can with some fun retro colors and textures. I'll walk you through it step by step to get this completed illustration. Lots and lots of fun to draw our shapes and then draw our little fishies in our can, so I hope that you enjoy it. If you are new here, I mainly post Procreate tutorials, so if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and subscribe. I also offer extra exclusive tutorials over on Patreon. That's linked in the description below if you want to check that out. If you join there, you get access to exclusive tutorials every month, along with sneak peeks of what we're drawing over here on YouTube each week. And if you join now, you get access to all of the tutorials that I've posted there thus far, about 2 years worth. Again, that's linked in the description below. But before we get started on today's drawing, the only thing that you'll need to do is download the color palette. I have that linked in the description below. It's totally free to download. Just save the file to your iPad and then double tap it or click on it and click Open in Procreate, and it will automatically pop into Procreate so you can use the same colors as you follow along with the video today. I'll also post the canvas dimensions, color profile, and layers needed on the screen here and in the description below so that you can use those to set up your canvas. So take a minute to get everything ready and then come back and we'll get started. Okay, this is the color palette that we'll be working with today. So let's just go ahead and get started. We're going to start by setting our background color to this bright red color. So to do that, we'll go to our layer menu. We'll click on this background color layer to open up our color selector there and grab that first color on the first row of the color palette to set it to this red color. Then we'll just click back to our layer menu to get out of that. And we're going to be on layer 1. And we're going to start by making the shape of the sardine can, which is going to be like a rounded rectangle. So to do that, we're going to turn on Symmetry to help us. So under the gear icon, under Canvas, click to turn on the drawing guide. Then we'll click Edit Drawing Guide so that we can set it to Symmetry down here. And then we should see a vertical line here, but we actually want the quadrant symmetry. So under Options here, we're going to click Quadrant. And you should see a cross there in the middle. Then go ahead and click Done. Then we'll be on this layer, on our layer menu, this layer 1. It should say Assisted now. If it doesn't, just click on it and turn on Drawing Assist. That means that Symmetry is active on this layer. And we're going to grab our first color on the second row now. So that teal color, which is going to be the outer edge of our can. So for our brush, let's grab our monoline brush under the calligraphy tab. I have my opacity for the brush set to 100, size set to 30, and our teal color selected. Now the rectangle is going to be a little taller than it is wide. So from like the center point here, I'm going to go up quite a bit and then over just a little bit. So about right here on our little top right quadrant, I'm going to make a circle to make our rounded corner first. So I'm going to make a circular shape, hold it down until it turns nice and smooth, touch your finger on the screen to make it a perfect circle. So then let that set. You can click the circle button at the top to adjust it. Don't touch one of the blue dots. That'll stretch it out into an oval. You can click the circle button to bring it back. But if you need to resize it, you can click or drag in between two of the blue dots to resize it. Otherwise, we're mainly just like setting the shape of it. So I'm going to start outside of it and drag around. And again, just make sure it's like a little taller than it is wide. So maybe about here. Good amount of room on the top and then more room on the right. But something about like this. I'm going to go back to my pen tool and now we'll just connect it. So we need a horizontal line across the top and a vertical line across the side. So I'm going to start at the very right edge of my circle here and draw straight down to till I hit that center line. Hold it down until it turns nice and straight and then touch your finger on the screen and you'll get this perfectly vertical line. Then you can click this line button at the top. We just want to make sure it meets up nicely with our circle. So I'm going to zoom in here. Drag it around till it just meets right with that circle so it creates like a nice smooth transition, meets up in the middle there. That looks good. Back to our pen tool, same thing across the top. So starting at the top of our circle to the center, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal. Click the line button. Again, make sure it meets up nicely there at the top. Okay, once that's all set, we'll fill it all in. So fill in your circles, fill in the main shape. And now we have the outer edge of our can, like so. Okay, now we want the inner part of our can, and we can just use the same shape that we have. So I am going to make a duplicate of this layer on my layer menu. So on my layer menu, select the left edge, duplicate, be on the top one here. I'm going to click on it and turn on alpha lock. and we're going to recolor it. So we're actually going to recolor it to the yellow color. So I'm just simply going to go to my color palette, grab my second color on the second row, back to my layer menu, click on this layer that is at the top with alpha lock on and click fill layer and it'll recolor the whole thing. Then I'm just going to grab it with my arrow tool. I'm going to have it on freeform and I'm going to make sure that snapping is turned on in the bottom left. And so with freeform selected, I'm going to downsize it a little bit and then start recentering it. So then I'm just going to downsize it from a corner, recenter it where we see our two yellow lines pop up. That means that we're perfectly centered on the screen. So we're in the center of our other shape as well. And we essentially just want to make sure that the edges all look about the same. So we don't want like the vertical edges to be really thick and our horizontal edges to be really thin. We want them to be about the same all the way around. So adjust your shape anymore if you need to and keep recentering it until you like the way that it looks. We should just have a nice good line of our teal still showing all the way around. Okay, so then once that's in a good spot, now we're going to recolor the top half to be a little bit darker. So on my layer menu, I am going to just stay on the same layer. Actually, alpha lock's already on. I'm going to click on it though and turn drawing assist off. And I'm going to grab my first of my really dark gray colors here on the second row. So it's the fifth one in line. And I'm actually going to grab my selection tool this time, set it to rectangle and turn on color fill. And I'm going to start on the outside, like top left of the shape and just draw across and then all the way down till we hit that like horizontal line there. So we're about halfway and then let that go to fill that in. So it just fills in the whole top half of our shape. Since alpha lock's turned on, it doesn't, do anything outside of it. And on our layer menu, you can see now that that's like split in half. That looks great. Okay. Now we're going to make like the little middle part where it kind of like rolls down like the can is open. So it's a darker yellow than our base yellow. So I'm going to add a new layer in my layer menu. Click on that layer and turn on drawing assist so that we can use the symmetry again. I'm going to grab my darker yellow third one on the second row, same monoline brush, and kind of the same idea as before. We're going to make like a really small rounded rectangle this time. So essentially on my shapes here, I'm going to go all the way to the edge where my teal shape starts. And I'm going to go a little bit above halfway. So I'm in this dark bluish gray area. And I'm going to make a really small circle. Hold it down until it turns nice and smooth. Touch your finger on the screen to make it a perfect circle. Click the circle button to move it. And essentially, I just want it to line up kind of right at the edge where that teal is. It can overlap the teal just a little bit. And then again, a little bit above my blue area. So then the other one below it should be above our yellow area. But really skinny there for the most part. Something about like this. Again, back to my pen, I'm going to connect it on the sides with a vertical line. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen. Move the line if you need to at all to make it line up nicely. And then same thing across the top. So I'll zoom out so I can get all the way to the middle. So from the top all the way to the middle, hold it down. Touch your finger to the screen, click the line button to adjust it so that we meet up nicely there. And then fill in the circle, fill in the main shape. And now we should have this rectangle here in the middle that kind of like overlaps all of our colors that we have so far. You can adjust that if you need to too. You can grab it with your arrow tool. You can adjust the size of it, shape of it, whatever you need to do. But I think that looks good right there. I might make it a little thicker from top to bottom and then recenter it. Okay, let's keep on going. We're going to make another rounded rectangle in red here at the bottom over our yellow color to where our word sardines is going to be. So I'm going to go to my layer menu, add a new layer, click on that layer, turn on drawing assist. We could move the grid here, but I want it to stay like perfectly centered. So we're just going to stay kind of right where we are for now, but we'll move it when we're done down below. So I'm going to grab my red color, first one on the top row, same monoline brush, and I'm going to start. It's going to be longer wide than it is tall, so I'm going to go over quite a bit on my line and then up a little bit, maybe right about here. I'm going to make another circle, hold it down, touch my finger to the screen, click the circle button to move it around if you need to. So yeah, a good kind of rectangular shape like this. And we can resize it when we get down there, but this is a good starting point. I'm going to grab my pen and connect it on the sides again, vertically, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen, move it if you need to, but that one landed pretty good for me. Across the top as well, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen, and move it. And then go ahead and fill in the circle, fill in the main shape. And now we can grab it with our arrow tool and we can move it straight down and we can resize it if we need to. I might resize it on freeform a little bit. I might make it a little shorter from top to bottom and kind of center it in that area here. Make sure it's on our vertical yellow line. No other line though, but just kind of center it in that area down there. That looks good. Okay, then we're going to add some fun little shapes behind this. So I'm going to go to my layer menu, add a layer below our red layer. I'm going to grab my teal color again, first one on the second row. Same brush. I'm going to lower my size maybe to like 10% so we can get some kind of sharper corners. But I'm going to make some little like fun star shapes behind it. So I'm going to go maybe right just on the top left corner here. And I'm going to start below it and I'm just going to go boom, 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 making these really sharp lines. Then I'll hold it down. Then you should get this polyline at the top. So you can click Edit Polyline and it'll let you kind of adjust your points a little bit, but maybe something kind of like this. Nice and fun. And then I'm going to grab my pen again and just make sure I connect it at the bottom so I can fill it in. So I'm just going to kind of connect it behind this red shape here. If it helps, you can go ahead and turn your red shape off to make sure you connect it there, and then we can fill that in. Same thing on the other corner. I'll do that again. Hold it down, edit the polyline. To adjust it a little bit, make sure it's connected, and then fill that in. So something just kind of fun like that. Okay, now let's get our sardines text in place. So on my layer menu, I'm just going to go to my red layer. And we're going to add a text layer. It's going to add it on its own layer, but it's going to add it to above where we are now. So I want to be above my red rectangle. So I'm on my red rectangle. I'm going to go to my gear icon. Under Add, click Add Text. A little text box will pop up here. Your text should already be highlighted. If not, just double tap it. We're first going to change the color to white, so I'm going to click my little color selector at the top right corner here and grab my white color, third one on the top row. My text is still selected, otherwise reselect it. And then I'm going to go to my, pop up my keyboard here, show keyboard. I'm going to double tap my arrow for caps lock and type sardines. Double tap it again, and then I'm going to click this little font name so that I can change the font. You can select any font that you would like. You can select a custom one that you maybe even have downloaded. I am going to do the Futura font in condensed medium. Then I'm going to grab it with my arrow tool and drag it down here. Okay, now I want to make some more adjustments still, so I'm going to tap on it again, double tap it to select it. But now that it's in place, I'm going to up the size a bit and up the tracking a bit. Something maybe about like this. And then I'm going to grab it with my arrow tool again and recenter it there like so. So use whatever font you want or anything else that you want to add there, but that's what I'm going to do for mine. Okay. Now that that's all in place, I'm going to add a shadow around the edge of the yellow stuff here. So I'm going to go back to my layer menu. I'm going to go back to my like duplicate of my layer 1 here that has my half and half shape. So I'm going to be right on that one. Alpha lock's already on, so I'm just going to stay right on that layer. I'm going to grab my kind of grayish yellow, now the fourth one on the second row. And then I'm going to grab my soft brush under the airbrushing category. Find that. My opacity is at 100. My size is at maybe 5. And I'm going to go around the edges. So I'm going to go under this little shape here. Kind of add like a little shadow, and then around the edges a little bit as well. Just add a little shadow there to show that we have like some dimension to our shapes here in our can. So again, that's why we turned Drawing Assist off. So make sure it's not drawing like up here. We don't want that. So turn Drawing Assist off if you didn't yet to add that. And just make sure you're not ending up here at all. We want this all to stay this dark blue color. Okay, now let's go ahead and finish off. We have one more part of our can here to make, which is just like the little, I guess, handle that you rolled this little piece back with. So I'm going to go ahead and add a layer right above the one that we're on. So we're underneath our yellow rectangle that we added on top here. So we're underneath that. I'm going to grab my dark blue color, the fifth one on the second row, back to my monoline brush. I'm going to up my size to about 50. And then I'm going to go just outside my can a little ways here on the right side, right about where my symmetry line is, and I'm going to draw a nice oval, pretty small, hold it down until it turns nice and smooth, then click the ellipse button at the top to adjust it. And I want it to be like a perfectly vertical oval, so I'm just going to adjust it, drag it around here until my 2 blue dots line up right on that symmetry line that's on the screen there, and a little ways out from the oval. So if it's like really tilted, they won't line up. So you can kind of make it a little bit more vertical by just trying to line those up there nicely. Adjust the size if you need to. Something about like that is good. Then I'm just going to draw a horizontal line back. So right on the symmetry line there, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen. Something like that. Very simple for that piece there. It's all on its own layer, so you can grab it with your arrow tool if you need to move it around or resize it or anything. I might move mine a little closer. Okay, now we can draw our fish inside. So we're just going to draw one, duplicate it for the others, and then we will finish everything off. So on my layer menu here, I'm going to just go ahead and add a layer right above my layer with my double colors on it. So underneath the one that we just created right there. I'm going to grab my base fish color, which is my first one on the bottom row, and still on my monoline brush, I'll go back down to 30%. And I'm going to start again with kind of like an oval shape. I'm just going to draw it really fast to get a good shape. So I want room for 3 of them in here, so we'll resize it if we need to. But I'm just going to start kind of towards the middle, and I'm going to start right under my yellow rectangle here. I'm going to go up, back down, hold that down. Click my edit ellipse button at the top to adjust it, and just kind of skinny it up here. So maybe about something like this. Looks good. So that should give me room for another one on each side, I would say. I'm going to grab my pen, I'm going to connect it across the bottom here underneath this yellow part, because if we go too far down, we'll get like over our yellow part down here, which we don't want. So if you need to, you can go back to your layer menu and turn off that yellow like middle layer to make sure that you have yours connected there. Mine looks connected, so I'm going to be on my fish layer here and fill that in like so. Okay, now we'll make the rest of our fish piece. So let's start with the face. So I'm going to go to my layer menu, add a layer above the one that we're on right now. Click on it and set it to a clipping mask so we only draw within this purple shape. And I'm going to grab my next color, second one on the bottom row. This time I'm going to switch my brush to the Studio Pen under the inking category. Let's go ahead and find that. And then I'm going to have my opacity for that set to 100, my size at maybe 15 or so. And depending on how hard or light you push, you might want to adjust it, but I'm going to start at the top and make like the mouth. So it's going to be just a slightly curved line coming right from about the middle, and I slightly curve it downwards. Then I'll leave space for its eye about here. So then I'm going to go down a little further, and I'm going to create a couple like curved lines like this, and then a fin. So then I'm going to go like this, like a U shape, and make a few lines coming off of that. Nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy, really cute, fun. Okay, now we need to make our eyeball there. So I'm just going to stay on the same layer. I'm going to grab my next color, third one on the bottom row, go back to my monoline brush at 30%, and draw our first circle for the eyeball. So just a nice good circle shape. Hold it down until it turns nice and smooth. Touch your finger on the screen to make it a perfect circle. Click the circle button to move it around or resize it. Again, touching in between 2 of the blue dots and dragging around. But right next to the mouth is good. Go ahead and fill that in. Same layer, we're going to make the center of the eyeball, fourth color on the bottom row. So switch to that, same brush. I'm just going to draw a circle, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen, move that around until it's pretty much dead center. And then go ahead and fill that in. You might have like a little ghosty line here, so you might just need to use your brush to fill that in as well. So that's our eyeball and all of our little fish details. Now we can add some good texture and stuff to him. So on my layer menu, I'm going to go back to my layer before this with the base purple shape on it, add a layer above it. Since it's below that other clipping mask, it'll automatically set itself to a clipping mask there. And now we're going to add just some kind of texture to him. So I'm going to grab my next colored line, fifth one on the bottom row. And this time we're going to switch our brush to the charcoal block under the charcoals category. So find that. I'm going to have my opacity set to 100, size at like pretty low, like 3 or 4%. And I'm just going to kind of go maybe like on the sides of him with this darker color. and very lightly just kind of adding some good dimension. So maybe on the sides with that. Then I'll grab my lighter color next one in line, 6th one on the bottom row, and maybe go through like the middle or underneath all of his face, so that's okay. Then maybe I'll go to this next kind of pinkish color, 7th one on the bottom row, and I'll add some of that in just in some differing places just to kind of add some more variety to him. Then maybe even this lighter pink color, the last one on the last row, 8th in line. Maybe I'll kind of focus that around his fin to make that like a different color and maybe add a little bit more through him as well. So just kind of go back in with any of your colors if you need to, your pinks, your purples, whatever works. But we just want some good kind of fun to him, that's all. Okay, that's my fish. Once I'm happy with all of the stuff, I'm going to snap him all together so he's on one layer. So I'm going to just snap my 3 layers together, the base and the 2 clipping masks. Now we should be able to make the duplicate for the other one. So first, let's just make sure he's centered. So I'm going to grab him with my arrow tool and just drag him around a little bit until he's perfectly in the center where our vertical yellow line is. Okay. Then I'm going to go back to my layer menu, make a duplicate of him. So slide to the left and hit duplicate, grab it with my arrow tool, and move it straight to the left here. And just kind of make sure the space in between him looks about the same. I would say that I can maybe make him a little bit bigger if I want to, because there's a good amount of room around him. So I'm going to go back to my base layer. So delete my duplicate. So just have my one base layer. I'm going to grab with my arrow tool on uniform. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger and then recenter it. Make sure there's nothing poking out underneath my yellow bar here. If there is, just erase it with your eraser tool or cut it off somehow. But I'm recentered on my new size. That looks good. Then I'm going to make a new duplicate, move it to the left, and I think that looks better. A little bit less space, nice and big. Make sure he's lined up there. You should see like 3 blue lines that line them up together at the top and bottom and middle so that they're perfectly lined up there. Then I'll go to my layer menu, make another duplicate and move it to the right side. Same thing, line them up, keeping the spacing about the same, like so. Okay, once we have all 3 fish, I'm just going to go ahead and snap all 3 of those onto the same layer to save a layer there. And then we can add some shadowing behind them. So I'm going to go back to the layer below that with our split colors here. Alpha locks on. I'm going to grab my darker grayish bluish color here on the 2nd row, 6th in line. Back to my soft brush. And just like we did with our yellow down here, we're going to kind of do a similar thing. So my size is still at about 5%. I'm going to go around the edges at the top. And then also around my fish. So that's why we waited a little bit to get them in place. So I'm going to go around my fish a little bit. So we should just have some good variety going on in there to add a little bit more depth. Okay, now that's it for the sardines and the can. So I'm going to add some finishing touches to the background, and then we'll add a layer to the entire thing to bring it all, to make it a little bit brighter and more textured and retro looking. So let's first make a shadow behind our can. So I'm going to go back to my layer menu and find my very first layer with my teal rectangle on it. Slide to the left on that and hit duplicate. Grab the bottom one, click on it and turn on alpha lock so that we can recolor it. And I'm going to find my 4th color on the top row. Go back to my layer menu, click on this layer on the bottom and click fill layer. You won't see it because it's behind our other one. I'm going to click on it again and turn off alpha lock because we're going to blur it. And then I'm going to click the N on this layer and set it to multiply so that it creates like a shadow. Okay, so it's recolored, alpha lock's off, multiply is set. I'm going to grab it with my arrow tool, move it down and to the left a little bit till it pops out there like so. Then we're going to go to our wand icon. Click Gaussian blur and we're going to drag this up a bit to maybe 10%. And then if you need to move it around any more, you can. That looks good. Now we're going to finish off some more pieces of the background. So on my layer menu, I'm going to add a new layer, drag it to the very bottom, underneath our shadow layer there. Grab our 2nd color on the top row, and then back to our monoline brush. And I'm again going to set the size back down to like 10% so we can get some nice crisp edges. We're going to do the same thing that we did behind this sardines word. So maybe I'll start like in the corner here and draw like a fun kind of like point like this. So point, off the screen, hold that down until it turns nice and sharp. Edit if you want to, and then fill that in. Maybe I'll do one kind of coming off the left side here. So that's why we did this layer on a multiply layer so that it'll affect our background too. So I'm going to start maybe here and do something kind of like this. Maybe try to come back to the beginning, edit the polyline to adjust it a little bit, whatever you want to do there. And then fill it in. Hopefully it's all connected. Mine is not. So I will turn off my other layers here and draw to connect it, fill it in, turn those back on. Okay, let's keep on going. Maybe I'll make another one like coming off the top here. Fill that in. And then maybe another one like off the bottom. And fill that in. Just a few of those to kind of add to our background some more. And then lastly, we'll add our color burn layer to brighten everything up and add some more texture to the whole thing. So to do that, I'll go to my layer menu, add a layer at the very top, click the N on this layer and set the layer style to color burn. We're going to grab our last color in the top row, 5th in line, and then this time we're going to switch our brush to the grunge brush under the textures category. So find that my opacity and size are both at 100. I'm going to zoom out a ways, and I'm just going to go left to right in like vertical motion or whatever works for you to add a good amount of this to the whole picture. Don't do too much, otherwise it'll just kind of blend into like nothing. But you should be able to see a bunch of texture now all over everything, and it also helps kind of brighten everything up a little bit. So I think that looks amazing. You can play with the opacity on this layer. If you don't like how much it's adding, you can click the CB to open up your options here, and you can lower the opacity a bit if you just want a little bit of texture or a lot. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and go to my gear icon and turn off the drawing guide. And that is it for our drawing today. So I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you like the way that yours turned out. I hope that you maybe learned something new. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and let me know what you thought down below in the comments. The likes and comments really help out my channel and to show my videos to more people, so I really appreciate it. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on any future tutorials from me. If you would like to share a drawing on Instagram, I would love to see it, so go ahead and post it there and then tag me so that I can check it out. And while you're there, go ahead and give me a follow so that you can see what I'm working on next. Thanks for watching.